Hello, Gelly Asofsky back with a book review. Book Reviews by Gelly. Yes, I am back in my office with another amazing book, The Invisible Boy by Trudy Ludwig. Has anybody heard of this book before? You know, I've got a big list of my top 10 or top 20 books that are just things that personally impacted me, and I see by how the children read it what it means. And this is one of those books. This book is about a kid who goes to school and he is invisible. And the art in this book is amazing. Let me show you. You know, there are all these kids in the class, and you're going to see there's one kid that's invisible, and that is our little guy. He suffers because nobody looks at him. That's Brian. Brian is just the kid that nobody sees. Everybody else is, you know, picked to play a part in the play or on the field for a sports game or to sit at a lunch table, except him. He is just not seen. And you can see in this picture, he wants to be picked. He's right there, but nobody picks him. How many of you relate to that? I certainly relate to that, even as a teenager on the sports field with kickball. Depending if my friend was the one who picked. I was one of the last few, and I thought I was good at kickball. But you know what? The popular kids always go first in class, and then they pick their friends. And you know what? I had my group of friends, but depending on who was the one who picked the people on the team, I didn't always get first dibs, and that was it. It didn't feel good. And when you're younger, that certainly doesn't feel good. And look at them, they're playing ball here, and he's slinking away because nobody cares about him. No one sees him. And at the lunch table, nobody sees him there. They make believe he doesn't exist. How many of us can relate to that? So what does he do? He does a lot of drawing. And this boy is a great artist. And he says his whole life, and that's what I love as a therapist, he just creates these characters and creatures that speak to his experience. Now, one day there was a new kid at school, and his name was Justin, and everybody wanted to be his friend. And guess what? He was nice, but Brian got into trouble because he just was never picked. And then Justin took out some food and he was eating with chopsticks. So everybody was laughing except Brian. Brian saw the opportunity. He created a nice little piece of artwork, and then he wrote him a note. Justin, I thought the bulgogi looked good, Brian. And here he makes a picture of him eating food. I don't know what bulgogi is, but it probably is a Korean kind of food. And they become friends. But then what happens is everybody wants to be his friend, and they call him, but they don't call Brian. Not nice, right? And then they get picked to do an activity, and Justin wants to pick Brian, and somebody else says, come with me. But then Justin says, he's a great artist. He'll make an addition to our team. And that's when Brian's good fortune changes. And the lesson of this book is that it just takes one kid to reach out to a child that's not being seen and not being heard. And you know what? That will give so much opportunity for any child in this world to have a friend, to have someone to talk to by the bus stop, while sitting at the lunch table, to play sports with, to do an activity with. So parents, please talk to your kids. Get this book. I should start selling these on Amazon, literally, and put the link here. These books are literally amazing. Maybe I'll do that. And then he starts having friends. He starts having people to play with. Good for Brian and good for Justin for seeing another kid that's a talented kid that has a lot to share and a lot to offer And you can be friends with more than one or two kids. You can be friends with anybody. Great lesson in getting back to school. The Invisible Boy by Trudy Ludwig. Take care.